Hey guys, welcome back to the Accountability on Demand podcast. I'm so excited to have a CEO chat with my good friend, the Sheila Michelle. Introduce yourself for the people.
Hey world, I am Sheila Michelle, your CEO, healthcare entrepreneur coach. Thank you so much for having me on this platform.
You are so welcome. It's been a pleasure of just knowing you, learning more about what you do, how you're helping others in the world, and also just being a really, really good business bestie. Let everybody know what made you get into the field that you're in right now.
Absolutely. So I actually have owned my own business for a little over 10 years. I am a technology leader by trade, but in 2022, I retired myself from 25 years in corporate America to become a full-time CEO in my drug testing center and clinical lab, as well as my business coaching and consulting. And really what drove me here, unfortunately, was tragedy. Actually, what's today? 12th?
It is the 12th. Yeah.
Today is the 12th. And 8 years, what are we, 2023?
Yep.
Okay. So, in 2016, so 7 years ago, 7 years ago today was actually the last day that I saw my son alive. Today.
The anniversary.
It's the anniversary.
Wow.
It's the last day that I saw him alive. And 3 days later, he was murdered. And so, as a technology leader, having my own business, I would take corporate contracts. So I had a contract with Cox Enterprises, one of the local, leading organizations in the country, really. And I went in to get a drug screen. And at that point in time in my career, I didn't want to work for anybody else. Life had changed with the loss of my son. The typical corporate, covering the CYAing and, all that back and forth, the bureaucracy, and just all of the things that, that go on in a workplace. Coupled that with grief, and it was too much for me. So I went to get this drug screen, and my idea was that at some point I was going to have work for myself. Yeah. So I had my own business, but I really was an independent contractor, right? I wasn't an entrepreneur. And I think people need to understand there's a difference between being a business owner, being a contractor, and being an entrepreneur.
And being a CEO.
Right. And being a CEO. Thank you for that as well.
Yeah.
And so I went to get this drug screen, and God told me, ask him, how did he do this? Now, I was a technology leader in higher ed and healthcare, so I wasn't new to education, teaching. I taught for the University of Phoenix for 5 years, adult education. So I wasn't new to that, but I was very apprehensive, but I was also obedient because we are talking about the Lord, thy God Almighty.
Yes.
So I asked that guy, and a series of YouTubing and Googling and struggling and striving, and so here I am now, having taught 2,000 plus folks.
Wow.
How to start their own drug test center, clinical lab. I run a 24/7 national transportation compliance organization, and I am coaching others to reach their dreams.
Wow. The first thing that I think of is healing while building, because I can never say, oh, I know how it is to lose a child. I cannot say that. And I know people are like, oh, my condolences, but it's almost like I don't even know what to say, because I see you every single day serving on the outside, but we're always healing on the inside, right? So I just want to tell you that I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Because healing while building is tough, but grief is a whole nother ball game on top of the other stuff. And I just want to tell you that I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I know a lot of times it's like, okay, you hear it, but you are literally the epitome of resiliency.
Thank you. I think that that's just kind of been my life story, because there are stories within stories, I say.
Yes.
And, we've been intending to have this conversation for a while, but I know that it was divinely ordered to actually be today, on this day. Special things tend to happen around DJ's anniversary. But I don't even know. Truthfully, I'm not healed. Let me be real.
It's an ongoing thing.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to y'all either.
Yeah.
I'm not healed. I don't think that healing happens on this side. I think that healing happens on the other side of life. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
But I'm just running my course while I'm here. And the thing that really kind of drives me to be resilient is, you know, my faith and my love for God and just wanting to be obedient and do what's pleasing in His sight. My love for His people. You know, God has created some awesome creatures. You are one of them. And also just feeling as though the more I perform in excellence, the higher DJ soars.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and healing is a journey. It's not finite. It's not something that is just, oh, you do this, this, and this, and you're healed. No, it's ongoing. So I know you said you're not healed, but I feel like every day that you get up is a piece and a part of you moving towards the work. Every day that you get up, you say, I'm going to do it. Every day that you get up, and through the pain, you're still showing up. Now, mind you, we got to be careful with that because I call it leading while bleeding. And you are my accountability partner in many areas, and I love how you practice what you preach.
Thank you. You know, well, I think especially you mentioned like being a CEO is different, right? And so I think that being a CEO requires a different level of maturation. And you don't want to dishonor the crown. You got to be sober. Right.
Oh, that's good.
There's a lot of self-awareness. There's a lot of accountability, ownership, discernment, responsibility. It's it's not just a title.
Right.
It really is. It really is a crown to carry. So I just feel as though, you know, for me, I remember, you know, with Jackie O, God rest her soul and bless that family. God keep them, you know, in this time and beyond. But I looked at the, you know, some of the footage, and it reminded me of, you know, my son's send-off. And I don't know that girl. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know her. I couldn't stay her, if that makes sense. I couldn't sit in who she was. Right. Because there have been times where I can think about my son and literally almost lose my breath. You know? So I just hold on to this, that, you know, God knows our beginning and He knows our ending. That's right. And our responsibility is to run this race, you know, as best as we can. Yep. You know, and so I'm super honored to share this space. You know, the loss of DJ was, you know, beyond anything imaginable. It's not for you. But I just say it's for everyone else, because when you know, as an entrepreneur, every person that I help as an entrepreneur, that becomes part of his legacy. That's so awesome. And I love that. I love that for you and your family and for him. Wow. So first of all, thank you for your vulnerability and transparency, because a lot of times we want to hold our story close. And I always say that your story is not. When you share a glimpse of it, because mind you, this is just the cliff note, right? We're not even getting it. Right. But just the cliff note is changing someone's life. They're sitting there right now, and they may have experienced some of the same things or something similar. And by them seeing you in your CEO-ship, in your womanhood, in your Black motherhood, standing strong and taking each day by day and still showing up, it's a game changer. So you mentioned about being a CEO, and today is CEO Chat. I want us to kind of chat about the coaching industry and the different layers of leadership and professionalism that it takes for a person. And this is the thing. Anyone can say, I'm a CEO, but what is your definition of CEO? Oh, that's a great question. And I'm really glad you asked that, so that we can make sure we set the record straight for the people. I can't stand the rain. Okay, my bad. But the CEO predicts what's happening in the company through the use of data. They make data-driven decisions, right? They craft and they develop plans, right? So that the team can execute the vision and the strategy.
Right.
And too often, too many of us are CEOs that are not CEOs. Like, we're CEO in title. Like, I'll give you a great example. When I started my drug testing center and clinical lab, I had the title operations manager.
Okay.
Right? That's what I was doing. I started building a team. I became the operations director.
Got you.
I kept building the team. I became the executive director.
Okay.
It wasn't until, 3 years in, honestly, right? 3-4 years in, that I was truly a CEO and I understood what that meant. Because up until that point, I wasn't working from the seat of my pants. CEOs don't work from the seat of their pants.
Right. It's funny because she mentioned the word predict. And so what I hear is project, proactive versus reactive, not putting out fires, but that visionary, having that macro view, and then you're able to delegate, you're able to foresee what's coming so you can support the staff and make sure that the clients and customers have what they need. And I think automatically when we start a business, we go get our LLC, our S Corp, whatever you want to call it. I'm a CEO. And that's cute. But she mentioned the word crown when you're a CEO. Like, you have a duty. And I think sometimes we, number one, take it for granted. Number two, we are misaligned with what it even means. And that's why we're not diligent in our purpose and how we're serving others. And then literally it becomes a domino effect. Because you guys know I'm a millionaire mindset coach and business therapist. So I focus on the internal stuff that's going on, which then layers out to the external. So whether that's unresolved trauma, mindset blocks, imposter syndrome, all the things that's going on inside, which then shows up in our business. And I love the work that you do. And we also know mindset is very, very important. But I think that people even take mindset for granted when it comes to being an entrepreneur, a business person, and a CEO, because everybody always says, well, people don't believe they have a mindset issue. They don't understand. Honestly, I think they do. I think they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, mindset is not the sexy stuff.
Right.
So mindset is not photo shoots. It's not slow-mos. It's not time lapses.
It's not brunching with the little words popping up on the screen.
It's not the PayPal chinging. It's the real work. I mean, mindset isn't the only work that people don't want to do, right? In coaching programs, right?
Correct.
And mindset isn't the only key component of coaching programs that is definitely missing, but it is number one in my opinion. So I tell my clients, I'm not a mindset coach, right?
Even though you do a good job of supporting.
I'm an amateur.
Yeah.
And not even try. And I ain't even gonna say I'm an amateur. Like, it's more like, I know you got a cold, so I'm like, oh yeah, you got a cold. Seems like you got a cold.
She can identify and suggest what you need to go fix the cold.
Yeah, exactly. So I did a poll in my stories over the weekend, and out of people saying they needed the strategy or play, people saying that they needed mentorship, and people saying that they needed mindset. Most people actually said they needed mindset. And that was surprising to me, because normally people don't. Number one, they don't know how to quantify mindset, right? They don't know what are all the symptoms of mindset.
Yes.
So that also is a reason. But then once they kind of know that they have a mindset issue, the work, it's almost like instead of losing weight, like I was thinking about this, like instead of losing weight, I'll just throw on workout clothes. Because the workout clothes are comfortable, and it makes it look like I'm trying to lose weight because I need to, but I'm not really. I'm just throwing on workout clothes.
You're not really doing the activities that will reward the weight loss. So why do you think that is?
It is. Thank you for asking that. You're asking all the right questions. Come through, God. So there's this book So in my mentorship program, I drive my mentorship through what I call a SOAR framework. So S is for strategic, O is for operations, A is for like aid and assistance, and R is for like review and recap.
I love that.
Okay, and O is also for opportunities. Stay with me.
Okay.
So one of the things that I do during my mentorship is I ask my mentees to read specific books. And originally we were doing one book a month, but that became too much for people. So we began to do one book a quarter.
Okay.
The first, and the books are in alignment with what we're focused on. So quarter one is strategy, CEO structure, strategy, and systems. Quarter two is the opportunities and operations, and so forth. So for quarter one, we kicked off with the 12-week year.
Yeah, I hear you mention that a lot.
And that 12-week year for me has been life-changing. I mean, it's been a tool that has helped me grow up this first half of the year, right? I'm here having this conversation with you because of the 12-week year.
Wow. Tell me, break that down. How is that?
Because the part of the 12-week year is about accountability and ownership. It's about accountability and ownership. That means that when we give our word to people and when we give our word to ourselves, we keep it. And so your question was, why is it? And it's because people in that book, it also talks about intention. We're not always keeping it real. We always talk about keeping it real and cap and
That's
what's some more of these young folks' terms, okay? But we're not keeping it real with ourselves.
Bar.
It's we the biggest cap around, okay? And so the illustration is an iceberg. And so when you think about an iceberg, you can see, let's say you can see the top of the iceberg. And those are the intentions that we want people to see.
Yeah.
We want people to see that we intend to be a boss. We want people to see, that we intend to look nice when we show up to events. We want people to see that we intend to have nice things, or we love our family. Not everything is material, but there are intentions. We have intentions that are not seen.
Most definitely.
And that is why. So it's the reason why I wear workout clothes when I did work out today. I'm back on my thing.
Yes.
But the reason why I was wearing workout clothes but not working out, because my intentions that people could not see and that I wouldn't admit, is that I value working at the computer more than I value my body.
That's really good self-reflection.
Do you see that?
I do.
That my intention was to be productive, not healthy. Does that make sense? So that's why people do it, is because they're not in tune with all of their intentions. Sometimes they're not aware, but then sometimes they just capping.
Yeah, I agree, but I'll also add this. When you're on that computer and you're working, your internal is saying, okay, girl, you need to take a break soon. And the other part of you, maybe it's ego, maybe it's, and I'm not saying you, but I'm going to use it as an example, a scarcity mindset of, if I don't get this work done, they're not going to get X, Y, Z. There's something that's not listening to your inner voice, because trust and believe, we lay down with ourselves every single night. And we have that conversation. Okay, you did this, you need to work on this. And then we get up in that pattern of behavior. We do the same thing unless there is something interceding and breaking that cycle. So what was it for you that said, okay, you cannot honor XYZ more than you honor health? Because as we know, health is wealth. What was it for you that is interjecting that pattern?
Well, let's back it up and see, this is why, you true to who you say you are, because it was ego, right? It was, I need to be successful.
Yep.
Right? And in order for me to be successful, I got to continue to sit here at this computer when I need to get up and work out, when I need to get up and drink water, when I need to get up and go to sleep, and all of the things. It absolutely was ego, right? So high five. Like
let's get a real one. And so let's just dig down into that a little bit. So the ego can either help us to do things or stop us to do things. It can stop us from by the ego getting a coach because I'm not finna pay XYZ for them to tell me what I already know. It can stop us from partnering and collaborating because if I do this, then everybody gonna think XYZ. And it also can increase unwanted or negative behavior like overworking, overthinking, overanalyzing, and not serving yourself. It's so funny. Research has suggested that imposter syndrome is fueled by.
I don't have imposter syndrome though. I will say that. I don't. It's very prevalent, but I thank God that we all got something.
For sure. That's not what I'm implying.
That one isn't mine. No, I just wanted to be honest with the people. But just to say that even just because you don't have imposter syndrome doesn't mean you don't have something.
Most
so
definitely.
Your question was, what was it that pushed me to shift my intentions? Because all I did was shift my intention, right? And what pushed me was the fact that, number one, I'm getting older.
Where? We can't tell.
I'm getting older, and I don't want nobody feeding me, pushing me around. Like I want to be self-sufficient in my latter years. That's number one. Number two, body just didn't feel good. You know, like it just, like I could see the things that you can get away with in your 20s and your 30s and even your 40s. You can't continue to do that, right? And to your point, health is wealth. And so we need to start taking care of ourselves. And when we say self, everybody kind of do the whole self-care thing, blah, blah. But like, no, for real, like we really do need to start taking care of our whole self. And so that really was it. I finally stopped capping. I finally stopped capping. And so what helps me is to either put it on my calendar and hold myself accountable, because that's part of the 12-week year model. Yeah. Or like get up 15 minutes, like every hour, like just get up for 15 minutes.
That's good.
Or just knock it out, like plan for it. So this morning I overslept, but I still got up, threw on the workout clothes, and went for a walk before the makeup artist came.
Yeah.
Because something is better than nothing.
You prioritized and you made it work, and you gave yourself grace. You could have said, I overslept, I ain't got time to work out. False. Just like you got time to get your makeup done. Right? You got time to check your emails. You have time to text. You have time to make sure that everybody else is taken care of. You prioritize self. Someone said as long as you move and work out or do something at least 30 minutes a day, you'll be fine for life.
And guess what? And I believe that, because if nothing else, it's a load off the mental. Like it's not, you might not even lose weight physically, but you're gonna lose weight mentally.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, with this being the CEO chat, and like the imposter syndrome being something that keeps people back. Yep. Whether they're coaching. Right? Because we got some people who are struggling as coaches with imposter syndrome. So they're not able to show up for their communities fully.
That's good.
And then we've got people who are in coaching who are actually jumping from program to program because they keep hiding behind who they need to be. Yes. And they think that as soon as I pay my money, I'm set.
It's gonna be a quick fix.
Winkle, tinkle, go to bed, wake up a multi-billionaire.
No.
Yeah.
No, and we're gonna be wrapping up soon because we have a very busy lady right here. But I do want to dig a little bit into what you just said. So when you think about a coach and a client, let's just talk about some pro tips to make sure their relationship and the breakthrough is effective. And I know that's like a loaded thing, but I literally want to give the people some tips, and even from the client standpoint, what should they be looking out for to make sure that they're a good fit with who they're looking for to support them.
That's a good one too. You just ask all the good
We
questions.
might need part 2, y'all.
Are you gonna get your own talk show?
Okay. For sure, it's coming.
Okay.
And let me just respond to that. Let me respond to that. We're at the gym right now. I will be on the TV screens, but you got to start, right? So we start with going live on your phone, and then your podcast, and then on the TV screen. So it's coming, and you're going to be my first guest.
Thank you. Yeah, so I actually wrote a book last year, an ebook. I dropped an ebook called Becoming Coachable.
I love that title. What made you write that?
I wrote that in memory of all my clients who buried their dreams and their goals alive. Everybody who forfeited, everybody who capped, everybody who slept on themselves, all that stuff.
Who did not activate their superpower because of, what was the biggest reason you think?
Mindset.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Mindset is big, y'all, just from the standpoint of I'm somebody who was a ward of the state. I was a ward of this good old state of Georgia. I lived with my grandmother, with my cousins, with my God family, with friends that I made at school.
Yeah.
My parents were 14 and 16 years old when they conceived me. We still don't have a good relationship. I say not have a relationship, but really we always have relationships. They're just either good or not good.
True.
Did all of the things, sexual abuse, mental, emotional abuse, domestic violence, teenage mom, like you name it.
Right.
I stole some fingernail polish from a store when I was 10 too. So
I stole more than that. Our story is more like than you know. But pause. look, just hold up,
please,
just fingernail polish. Girl, you good.
But for no good reason, because imagine how much it cost back then. But just saying, like, what has me sitting here in front of the Lashana West. Like, people like Lashana West were people that I would shrink in front of. Like, no, seriously. I would absolutely feel like a ball of trash in front of somebody like Lashana West in my earlier days, right? Not too long ago. So I'm saying that to say what has carried me through is mindset. So I wrote the book, Becoming Coachable, identifying the barriers to you being successful in any coaching program. So basically you being able
to, the link will be in the description. Don't worry.
So you being able to identify the right coach and the right program, right? Because you said there's layers to it. For example, we all have a framework, right, that we run our coaching programs by. And that framework is not designed to just, herd cattle. It's designed to help people reach, get their breakthroughs, right?
Yes.
To light candles and impact upon impact.
Right.
So I dropped this book, based on things that I saw in my own coaching program, but also I uncovered things about being a coach as well. So for those of you who are looking for your next coaching program, or those of you who are struggling in your current coaching program, it's first and foremost important for you to just see if you resonate, like see if that person, like what they say, the coach, what they say, what they do, their content, does it resonate with you? Does it bring you peace? Does it inspire you? Does it motivate you? Does it make sense? Does it fill gaps, right? That's just on the surface level. That don't cost you nothing. That's just consuming the content that they put out to attract their ideal or target clients, right? The people that they feel that they serve best.
Yes.
The next thing is to understand the different programs. I always say that 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 0 is 0.
Right.
So if you're getting something for free, or you're paying $1 for it, you're not going to have much of a return. Now, understanding that everybody's financial investment is at different levels, if it's a great coach, you should be able to invest, follow their program, and have a high enough rate of return to reinvest.
Very true.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So whether it's result or whether it is actually economic. I don't want anybody to think that just because you pay somebody $5,000, that means you're going to get $5,000 back immediately, because what you might get, right, is actually a result that you have to kind of turn over again, and you might get $25,000 if that makes sense.
I call that my try, test, and tweak. Because what we're not saying is you pay someone and you should just... No, you have to do the work, but you also, which Sheila is really big on, have to advocate for yourself and ask for what you want and need, because a closed mouth don't get fed, and we can't assume, just like in dating. Well, I need you to open the door for me. Well, are you going to tell them that that's your expectation? That's what makes you feel valued and loved? Because they may not have ever opened the door for someone. That's just a little analogy, but so the first one you mentioned was, does it resonate? Am I aligned with the information, the breakthrough, the impact?
Do not buy a digital
Secondly, at the end of the day, what was your second one? I'm trying to...
The second one, no, because it's so much. We always get deep, y'all. The second one was just really understanding the different programs.
Yes.
And like what your investment can be. And that's investment of your time, investment of your money. And then also how you learn and perform best, right?
That's good.
So if you're not... And if you know you ain't going to execute when you go home, please don't go to the live event. Like, you have to really look, and who best to ask is not DMing other people that you've seen in the program.
Right.
It's not getting in the comments with other people. It's actually going to that coach, whether you need to book a consultation or send their team an email and saying, hey, I'm very interested in your program. This is what my goal is. This is my intention. What product or service would you recommend for me? Or what questions do I need to answer for you to help me determine what's best? So I dropped that book for that particular reason.
That's really good.
But now we on to the coaches. Let's get on the coaches real quick before we cut
how
off.
much time you got, sis? Because listen.
Well, we got 5 minutes. It ain't gonna take long.
Okay. Before we move to the coaches, that last piece, going to the source and asking your questions, I think this is where people shrink. It's this person, this mega whoever, and I don't know how to say it. Say it as if you were talking to a friend. Like, I think when we start shrinking, we don't ask for what we need, and then we're more reactive than proactive. Then we start complaining instead of taking accountability that you didn't ask the questions. Now, I'm not saying it's too late, but you're going to have to go back and send that email, that DM, that phone call, especially after you've already invested and you feel like you're not getting what you want. You still have to speak up, because we all have a due diligence, right?
Right.
You have a due diligence. I have a due diligence. The student has a due diligence. The teacher has a due diligence. So let's move to the coaches. What you got for us?
Ooh, child. Quick read. Because I'm certain that we also have some aspiring coaches.
Yeah,
it might be time to revamp following
your
this
program.
amazing
Most
podcast.
definitely.
We've had some phenomenal people on. I love, every time I see it, I get excited.
Yay.
Coaches, if you are suffering...
Look them dead in the face.
Coaches, if you are suffering from what I think professionals call sympathy fatigue. If you are feeling like you don't want to serve the people that have paid you longer than the transaction completed, like you wanted to serve them just until the money hit the bank, it's time to revamp your program. You can have it all, okay? You can serve awesome clients. You can have a kick butt program. You can still have your personal life, but you've got to structure your program accordingly. And because mindset, I'm going to tie back to what we said, because mindset is so rampant, right? Mindset is so rampant, you're going to have a formal mindset segment, whether it's you or whether it's an expert like LaShawna, so that you can get more results in your program. And that is probably going to reduce your sympathy fatigue,
yep.
and probably reduce, so
many things. But this is the thing, it has to be, and I know you already know this, it has to be more than a segment. It has to be infused throughout the programming. I see so many people that pay for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K programs, and they're not showing up on the calls. They're not doing the work. And it has nothing to do with the cute landing page, the money that's coming in. It's about the mindset. Because life is going to always life, right? Whether it's relationship, whether the kids is running amok, whether you're having some womanhood stuff, some manhood stuff, life is going to always life, but you have to have that accountability and that neutral party. What I mean by that is nothing about business. It's about the mindset stuff. How are you feeling? How are you thriving? Did you drink your water today? XYZ happened. How did that make you feel? Now, I'm not saying therapy because it's a fine line. Because some people do need therapy.
Yeah.
But with the work that I do, I'm able to literally differentiate, is this a mental health problem or is this a mindset problem? And a lot of times no one's talking about the stuff, so we keep it down in here and it starts to fester. And then we go into crisis, which bleeds over into the impulsive email or you getting online projecting your trauma on others when really it's all has to do with you and what you're dealing with.
And let's talk about the jealousy. Let's talk about
where'd that come from?
Let's talk about the clients who get jealous of the coach. Let's talk about the coaches who get jealous of the clients.
Hold up. This gonna have to be a part 2, sis, because we can't just throw that out there and be like, thanks for coming.
On the next episode.
So listen, I definitely want to talk about that because I've seen some clients shrink because they've made more money than the coach, but they don't even promote it or share it because they don't want to outshine the coach. That's not fair.
Well, that, and how about some don't want to do it because they don't want the coach to have a receipt. They don't want to see the coach do it.
Ooh.
And I'm fine with that. I share with people. My success is not contingent upon receipts. I love places because
people
in
will
my heart
wonder
of
why
hearts,
you're there.
The
And
people
that's
that
perfectly
I work
fine.
with are people that
Yeah,
I want
so
to see succeed.
Yeah.
It validates that I did my job, right? But at the end of the day, like when your path is divinely ordered, you ain't got to have nan social proof. You ain't got to have nan piece of social proof.
That's facts.
I don't want to undermine it because it has its purpose, but
Right.
just letting you know, like God will put you in place.
Can I play devil's advocate real quick?
Yeah.
So I hear you and I agree. Another layer is some people feel that if they already had momentum before they started working with that coach and maybe that coach helped them with a couple tweaks, they don't feel that coach should get all the credit It's politics.
for the progress.
That's how at the end of the day, I feel like it's petty. Are you winning? Who are the people that helped you win? And let's just keep winning.
Yeah.
So like that goes into that female catty ego, the whole 9. But again, we're only seeing what's happening on the outside. I'm sure there's some underlying things on the inside. But do you guys see how like entrepreneurship is? I'll sum it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Before I forget, I think it would be awesome for you coaches if you had like a mindset corner in your program.
Oh, that's good.
Do you know what I mean? Like just a place where people could feel safe for real, because we always tell people it's a safe space, but the feminine energy is absent, right?
Whew.
Yeah, I did all this so I could like get another segment with you.
It's already booked. Let me tell my assistant real quick. You booked.
No, but thank you. But seriously, so just saying that I think a mindset corner.
Girl, I love that. I'm like,
where people go and it's like, this is the mindset corner. You just come over here and you dump your feelings. Nobody's gonna judge you. Nobody's gonna tell you, girl, get over it. Nobody's gonna tell you it ain't wrong.
Gosh.
You shouldn't have did this. Like just so, and then I just think you have to have that. And then coaches, you can focus on coaching. If you're not the mindset coach, you can focus on coaching.
Stay in your lane. So this is what I love about the mindset corner. 2 things. Because I specialize in mindset, I have the patience and the capacity to hold all of the things. And what happens with business coaches, sales coaches, consultants, they don't. So they just kind of give a little bit so they can address it and keep it moving, but it's not being resolved, right? And what I was going to do was like, so the coach, they're like, I'm not no mindset coach. I'm not no therapist. Just do the work. Just do what I ask.
Yeah.
I can't do the work or do what you ask because I have some underlying stuff going on. Worry, fear, doubt.
That part.
Shyness, introvertedness, imposter syndrome, fill in the blank. So,
that's in some folks' contracts. And so if you know that you want that to be in your coaching contract, that I'm not your therapist, I think it behooves you to have a referral. It's just like if you go to a primary care doctor. So like if somebody comes to you for business, to learn how to be an entrepreneur or to learn how to launch a business or whatever, a product, blah, blah, blah. If you understanding that mindset is numero uno, how you say that? Okay, so understanding that, have like, just like you envision going to a doctor, remember they will have pamphlets, right?
Right.
Have a resource, a great resource like LaShawna and her program to support folks, because that's the only way that like you really aren't going to be able to see the transformation in your own community with that missing.
I agree.
The continuity. Not to say that you won't have success stories, because you will. You will have some transformations, but at some point you're gonna bump up against that mindset, because I know I ran from it, right? That's why I had you come to Lunch Your Lab, and the first thing, LaShawna was the first thing to kick off. Each of those sessions is like, let's get the mind right, right? I ran from it long as I could, because I'm like, I don't want to get into your feelings, because if you down, girl, I'm down. I just want to show you how to run this play. I want to show you, why entrepreneurship, is so important to generational wealth and health and changing the trajectory of your bloodline and all that stuff. I didn't want to do no mindset. So I brought in
She invested in the program and the clients and brought in an expert so she could stay in her lane, right? And then we kind of seen how it impacted and whatnot, and now you do it yourself, but at your own capacity and choice, not because you have to.
Well, I wouldn't say, honestly, because this is the No Cap podcast. LaShawna No Cap, that's gonna be the name of your show. But no, I don't do it. I actually don't do it myself. My mentorship is not mindset. My mentorship is about that SOAR framework. It's about how to organize yourself. It's really about a fake it till you make it, right? In other words, just start doing the good things, and then as you start to get those accomplishments, you automatically start to feel better about yourself, right?
So it's infused indirectly, and you have the know-it-all to refer them, though. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we have these programs, we're making this money, and there's no referrals on. Now, mind you, some people may be like, that's not my responsibility to refer them.
I just make sure that they are aware. That's what I do. I think I do awareness. It's like, okay, well, that sounds like a mindset thing, so this is probably what you're going to need to do. But I refer people to you all the time. Yeah.
What if the coach is not aware, though? Because it's the thing. I can't hit a target I don't set. If I'm not aware and I'm up here thinking that they're complaining or they're just being negative or pessimistic, what if I'm not aware?
So that's what I think. That's what part of my message is on the CEO chat. It's about clients becoming coachable, but it's also about coaches creating an environment where clients can truly succeed and transform. And because mindset is number one, because where the mind leads, the body will follow, something like that. If you are a coach and you have no clue about what we're talking about, then they need to be connecting. So I'm saying like a great coach is gonna address mindset in some type of way.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that note, we're gonna wrap up. I want you guys to stay tuned for part 2. Sheila, let everyone know where they can find you, and we're gonna have her Becoming Coachable ebook link in below in the description, because y'all need to go run and get that right there.
So, hey world again. I am Sheila Michelle. I am a healthcare entrepreneur coach. Thank you so much for having me. Y'all can find me at I am Sheila Michelle on YouTube, Instagram, You can also find me on LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, and Pinterest. Why? Because we need to be on all the platforms.
And guys, you know me, LaShauna West, your business therapist and millionaire mindset coach. I hope you pinpoint and process the blocks that are keeping you stuck and stagnant so you can live an aligned life and have an aligned business. We'll see you next time on the Accountability On Demand podcast. Bye, y'all.